This abomination started out as a 1985 Chevy Blazer and a 1950 Ford tow truck. There are a couple other videos on this series on my channel. In the last episode, I separated the Blazer body from its chassis and the Ford body from its chassis. Today, my plan is to get this cab mounted permanently to this chassis, along with several other odds and ends. Yada yada, let's get to work. Last week, I took the tow truck body off of its frame and I just set the tow truck body here just to make sure that this whole idea was conceivable at all, and it was. So this body has to come back off. We got to build motor mounts, take it back off, and weld everything solid. And there's the blank chassis, so I'm gonna start installing the cab mounts. And then when all the welding and fab is done, we're gonna take this thing out and power wash everything. It's gonna get new brake lines and certainly new exhaust. Well, I tried to do something else. Break this blade. Come on. Is this a joke? How is this supposed to work? The only requirement is that you have 3 arms. I don't know, first impressions seem to be really low. What? Oh my gosh. I'm seeing that this blade is sticking off the bottom of this pulley compared to this one up here where it's like flush. So what's causing that is there's 3 bearings, 1, 2, and then there's one that sits behind the blade. That blade's touching that. So this needs to be adjusted back. One of them down, I got 3 more to go. There's no reason to keep them on there since we're not using the old body. No way, come on! All right, this thing's been cutting for like 20 minutes. It's obvious that the blade is shot. It's like cutting on an angle. Is that really how these bandsaws work? Is they don't? Did I just get scammed on Marketplace, or is that like how they work? Look at that. What did that take? A minute? Mounts are all set. I think I can set the cab. I think the cab's exactly where it needs to be, and it looks freaking awesome. I just put a new Harbor Freight blade on this saw. Let's see if it acts any differently. That's how it's supposed to work. I also got a fire extinguisher from the Hobo Freight because safety. You know how trustworthy Harbor Freight jack stands are? I have to imagine this is about the same. And for my financial mistakes at Harbor Freight, they rewarded me with this heat gun. So what I've decided to do right now is to try to get this gas tank out. I recently discovered that someone welded the seat in, so that's nice. Makes it nearly impossible to access the gas tank. That's great. I like it when things get dramatically harder. The reason I want to get this gas tank out of here is because it's full of gasoline and I need to do some drilling and cutting, all things that would be considered hot works and require a hot works permit. I don't really want to do that next to a can of gas. Nothing but the best. There is the tank. Definitely needs a cleaning in here. I could have been over a little farther, I guess. That's why I drilled a small hole. I'm gonna re-drill this just a touch over. Mocked up. It has to actually come back off because I want to clean this frame, but I know that the cab mounts will work with the front clip mounts and the hood. Everything lines up, everything fits underneath the hood.
The puppies. Hi guys. Hi guys. Down, down. Yeah. Hi puppies. Hi puppies. Are you guys playing in the snow? Are you playing in the snow? Let's go play in the snow. Come on. Good boys. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Good boys.
Now I have to take the body back off, clean the frame. I'd like to paint the frame. Mr. In-N-Out is working. I'd like to paint the frame and get the brake lines, the fuel lines, all that stuff ready to go to set this back on. I want to get the exhaust built. Got the metal all prepped here. Let's weld this adapter on. Instagram quality welds, I'm not going to show you. That's one side done. I actually need to get this 2.5 back to like here. It's ultimately gonna come up and I'm gonna do stacks on this because it's a diesel and I can, and I want to, and it's my truck. I hope that's bright. So here's where we are with everything. Cab's been taken off. The body mounts are where they gotta go. I think I wanna beef these body mounts up. They're just a little bit lighter than what I would probably like if we're off-roading this. I want to make sure that my body mounts are not gonna fold the second I hit a bump. I have my dual exhaust mocked up. These are ultimately gonna come up to stacks behind the cab. I wanna do some organization of this catastrophe. And ultimately, once the body mounts have been completely welded out, I'm taking this thing, throwing it on my gooseneck, and we're gonna power wash this entire frame to get rid of the rust and the dirt and the years of caked on just yuck. I also need to drop the tank. I should make a list that I wouldn't forget everything I'm about to forget. I'm not gonna make a list. Definitely one of those things you hoard and never get rid of. I must have given these bolts the wrong impression that I was asking nicely to come out. I wasn't. Why is it so hard to breathe all of a sudden? Ow. What is this thing attached to still? Ugh. Nearly caught my boot on fire. How exciting. Oh my gosh, more bolts? Give up your dad. Don't make me get medieval on your hiney. Oh, God almighty. What did they think somebody was gonna steal this thing? Ugh. One of the things I did notice here, there's a whole bunch of rot in this back cross member, all ready to be power washed. Let's get this thing loaded on the trailer. Shortly after I got into the shop, I quickly realized that I was gonna need some kind of microphone so that the audio coming through to you guys was as high quality as I could get it. My greatest fear with using audio equipment is the horror stories of creators going to their desk to edit and they lost all the audio. Guess what happened? I lost all the audio. I don't know how and I don't know why, which is even more infuriating because I can't really fix it. But like everything else around here, we just do the best we can with what we got, so let's move on. I brought my gooseneck trailer in here so I could load up the Blazer chassis and take it to get it pressure washed. The problem is it's freezing temperatures here, and my pressure washer doesn't like to cooperate in these kind of temperatures. So my genius idea was to take the chassis on my trailer to a car wash. I took it to the car wash thinking that they would have high pressure washers there. What I found was that the pressure coming out of the nozzle was the weakest, most underwhelming stream of water I've ever seen. So it did virtually nothing. That was a debacle. I brought it back here. At some point, I will probably take this chassis out and get it power washed properly, but I can't do that when it's 32 degrees. God, I love technology. Mr. In-N-Out just called me. Allegedly, he's testing his new go-kart and he broke down, like on the road. So I gotta go.
No! What happened?
It exploded.
Look at my glove.
I'm not riding that thing.
Why not? The
Hell
brakes
no.
work.
Get out.
You're not trustworthy, and my tire's flat.
Okay, well, you can get it back yourself, or you can ride that thing. And it's better you
Well,
die
walk
than
next
me.
to it and keep it straight.
No, I'm not gonna go 90 miles an hour.
You will. You'll go as fast as it'll go.
There's somebody coming and you're blocking
I
the
don't
road.
care. And go slow because the strap's all wrapped up.
Move there! Why are your wheels crooked?
He's in so much danger right now. It's unbelievable.
I hope it was worth it. All right, Blazer's back from the pressure washing debacle.
I have the dual exhaust built all the way back to the back of the cab, so the back of the cab should sit right about here. These will actually turn outside and then up. So the next phase is I gotta finish welding out the cab mounts. I gotta build some structural gussets for the front cab mounts because I feel like they're just a little lighter than what they should be. And then I need to go through and redo brake lines, fuel lines. Guys, welding is one of the greatest skills that you can learn. There's a million videos on the internet. Some of the people I would recommend are welding tips and tricks. Jody's a great source of information. Weld.com, there's a ton of information out there. It's such a great skill to have if you're the type of person who has the ability to learn. So what I'm doing here is making a template. This is called CAD. A lot of you fancy CNC programmers won't understand what I'm talking about. This is cardboard aided design. We're just gonna is what I will take and transfer to steel. All prepped, let's get them welded on. That's not going anywhere at all. So at this point, the body mounts are all welded solid. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I added these exhaust hangers, so these are nice and rigid. Really happy with how that turned out. This is one of the most simple vehicles ever made. And look at the wiring harness. This is actually really quite simple. Imagine what the wiring harness in your modern 2018 F-150 looks like. That would be a nightmare. So I'll reuse some of this, like the glow plug wiring harness, but I'm glad that's off and out of the way. So there's a couple of lines that run from the front of the vehicle to the back. That's a fuel supply, a fuel return, and a brake line. The only thing holding those lines together anymore is rust. I want to pull them all out and replace them with new copper nickel lines so they don't rust or rot again. Return lines in. I just got to do that all over again for the fuel supply. Idiot. I'm sure ASE certified Larry is going to tell me that it's wrong or different or shouldn't do it that way, but I don't give a got the copper lines all installed. I have a 3/8 copper line for the supply and a 1/4 inch copper line, I believe, for the return. It's virtually the same size as factory. And if you're wondering why I use copper, it's because they'll just never rust. It is time to set the cab on the truck. Somebody, I'm not saying any names, left the mounting bolts in when they lifted the cab off. Make sure those threads are nice and rounded off before we get started. Perfect. We're halfway there. There she be. That is friggin' awesome. So, the next phase of this project, I guess, is to take this dash apart. I'm inside the Blazer because I need the steering wheel. And one of the interesting things about the steering wheel column is that there's this bracket that attaches to the brake pedal. So I need all that. I made a terrible life choice. What do all these wires have to do with the steering wheel? I hope none of them are required to do any steering. Cool. There it is. Every guy should have a couple of steering wheels laying around. Just never know when you're gonna need one. Hey, goofball, come here. What are you, hey, I'm right here. What you doing? I got Mingo at the shop today. Relax. He's learning. I'm working with him, training. He's got some kinks to work out. Max did a pretty good job on some stuff. We got to work on some other stuff, right, buddy? All right, off you go. Oh, you got your toy? Oh. And here's the other part I was after. This brake thing. I don't even know how it goes. Like this, I think. So let's see if this steering wheel is anywhere near where we need it to be. Ow! Yeah, I mean, I think so. Got this up here. Yeah. A little bit of fabric cobbling needed, but it'll be fine. Oh, yikes. I got a solution for this. Imagine if you had to figure out how to put all that stuff back together. All right, I have the entire steering column stripped down. I need to do this for scientific reasons. Look at there. I want to remove that plastic piece carefully. Perfect. Excellent. No. Oh, God. So many regrets. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna win. He's hoarding his toys. The world's most uncomfortable seat. Oops. Steering wheel's not attached. You know what? That's not bad. I wouldn't want to go to California like this, but honestly, can't close my door. Really what I'm trying to do here is kind of test fit everything, make sure it's somewhat comfortable. You know, it's not going to be perfect. This isn't bad. Get out of my way. What you doing? Shop dog? Shop doggy? These are what I use to stab you. No, just kidding. These are what I'll use for the steering column brackets. I'll show you how I'm installing these. So here are the triangles that I cut out and welded to the steering column. This is how I'm going to mount it to the dash. Thank God it's not hot and heavy. Staring into the sun. I need an extension. There it is. Look at that. This shop is getting wildly over full. I have stripped this for everything that I need at the moment. The tow truck is also taking up a bunch of room, but I want to take the engine out of it and put it on the shelf. I kind of gave that to Mr. In-N-Out. He's going to use that for a project in the future. Furthermore, my original plan was to use this tow truck body on the Ford Blazer. The problem is that tow truck body is welded in about 300 different ways to the old chassis. To try to cut that off would be an absolute debacle and a nightmare and nearly impossible, and you'd end up rebuilding a whole bunch of stuff anyway. So instead of trying to monkey around cutting that thing off, I'm gonna build an entirely new tow truck body, trying to replicate as much of that custom hacked original Ford old farmer fix look. I'm gonna incorporate the old wheel lift. I'd like to use the old snatch block and maybe those cables up top, we'll see, who knows, but that's gonna be its own video. With all that in mind, I can take the motor out of this frame and get this whole Ford tow truck chassis thing out of my way and out of the shop. Same with this Blazer. They're not going anywhere. I'm gonna take them back over to my other shop and just store them until somebody comes along and buys them, but they don't need to be sitting here. Well, I was gonna just take the engine out peacefully, but he's escalated directly to violence with the angle grinder. More extension,
a wobble
less.
pin and a lot of extensions.
You are a wobble pin.
You need a wobble pin for a duct.
Where's your wobble pin? Yank up as hard as humanly possible, and that thing just should flop right out of there. Didn't really.
Ah!
There it is.
Perfect. What's wrong with this thing?
Well, I'm running out of time tonight to get this video out for tomorrow morning. The next thing on the agenda is going to be to get this steering linkage hooked up. I think I have a pretty good game plan. And as for anything else that happens next, you guys, I'll have to stick around till next weekend to find out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flippity flop.